Welcome back to the deep dive. This time, we're taking a deep dive into a collection of true crime stories that you've shared with us. From unsolved murders to strange disappearances,
Oh, yeah.
we're ready to uncover the most fascinating details. We've got some seriously intriguing cases lined up, like the man in the attic and the Elvis impersonator erasing plot.
Oh, wow.
So buckle up.
It's intriguing to see such a variety of cases, from classic cold cases
Hmm.
to modern mysteries
Yeah.
that are still unfolding.
Let's start with a case that's both heartbreaking and perplexing. The Boy in the Box, back in 1957 in Philadelphia, a young boy's body was found abandoned in a cardboard box. It's a story that's captivated the public for decades.
The circumstances surrounding the discovery are truly unsettling. The boy's body had been meticulously cleaned and carefully placed within the box, suggesting a strange duality in the perpetrator's actions, a mix of callousness and an almost unsettling tenderness.
It's like they wanted to care for him, even as they were discarding him, which just adds another layer of mystery to the case.
Exactly. And despite years of investigation, countless leads, and even recent advancements in DNA analysis, the boy's identity remains a mystery. It's a stark reminder that even in the most advanced societies, some cases defy resolution. Some identities remain shrouded in mystery.
It really makes you wonder, who was this boy? And what led to his tragic end? His grave is simply marked America's Unknown Child, a sad reminder that some mysteries may never be fully solved.
Absolutely. The lack of a name, a
Yeah.
family, a history, those elements make it even more poignant. It feeds our desire for answers and closure, which sadly may never come.
Okay, let's switch gears to a case that sounds like it was ripped from the headlines of a small-town newspaper, the Circleville Letters. The story is full of anonymous harassment, mysterious messages, and a community gripped by fear.
The case truly highlights the psychological effects of the unknown. Starting in 1976, the residents of Circleville, Ohio, began receiving these bizarre letters filled with personal attacks, exposed secrets, and vicious rumors. It tore the town apart.
It's crazy how these letters targeted everyone. The school bus driver, the sheriff, even the mayor's wife.
Wow.
It's like the writer had a personal vendetta against the entire town.
The letters caused a wave of paranoia and distrust among the residents. It really shows how anonymity can amplify fear and suspicion within a community.
And the case gets even more complex when the letters escalate to threats, phone calls, and even an attempt to frame someone for a crime. A man named Paul Freshour was eventually convicted of attempted murder related to the letters. But here's the truly disturbing part. The letters kept coming even after he was imprisoned.
The fact that the letters continued after Freshour's imprisonment casts a serious shadow of doubt on his conviction and points to a much larger conspiracy at play. Was he innocent all along, or did he have an accomplice outside, continuing the harassment?
It's a chilling thought, the idea of a phantom letter writer, continuing to torment the town even from behind bars. The letters eventually stopped, but the writer's identity remains a mystery to this day.
It makes you wonder what would drive someone to engage in such a prolonged and relentless campaign of harassment. What secrets were they trying to protect, or were they simply reveling in the chaos they created?
Wow. From psychological torment, let's move to a case that seems straight out of a sci-fi thriller. The Toxic Lady, Gloria Ramirez. It happened in California in 1994, and the details are strange, even for us.
The case of Gloria Ramirez is a stark reminder of the limitations of our scientific understanding. It also reveals how fear and uncertainty, particularly in a high-pressure environment like a hospital, can lead to what some might call mass hysteria.
Gloria was brought to the ER seriously ill, but things took a very bizarre turn. Nurses attending to her noticed a strange garlicky odor coming from her, along with an oily sheen on her skin when they drew her blood. It had this ammonia-like smell, and that's when things escalated quickly.
Several nurses started feeling ill, experiencing symptoms like fainting, seizures, and difficulty breathing. The situation became so chaotic that the ER was evacuated, and a hazmat team was called in. It was a scene of complete pandemonium.
And to this day, no one can definitively say what caused those reactions initially. It was dismissed as mass hysteria. But later tests did reveal the presence of DMSO in Gloria's blood, and there was a complex chemical theory put forward by scientists at Livermore Labs, suggesting a chain reaction involving DMSO, oxygen, and sulfates.
But even that theory doesn't fully explain everything that happened. It's a medical mystery that's become legendary in the world of the unexplained. Was it an unknown chemical reaction? A case of mass hysteria? Or perhaps something else entirely? We may never have a definitive answer.
From a potentially toxic lady, let's shift our focus to a case that spans decades. and is shrouded in speculation. The Sauter children's disappearance. It was Christmas Eve, 1945, when a fire ripped through the Sauter family home in West Virginia.
This case embodies the tragic mystery of missing children and the profound impact such an event can have on families and communities. It also exemplifies how unanswered questions can give rise to countless theories and speculation that can linger for decades.
Imagine this. It's Christmas Eve, and the Sauter family is asleep in their home. A fire breaks out. And while the parents and 4 of their children manage to escape, 5 of the children are never seen again.
The initial assumption, of course, was that the children perished in the fire. But several unsettling details emerged that cast doubt on that conclusion. Despite an extensive search, no remains were ever found in the ashes.
And there were so many other strange details surrounding the fire. The phone lines and Christmas lights were malfunctioning. In the hours leading up to the fire, some witnesses reported seeing fireballs being thrown at the house.
Oh my God.
And there was even a mysterious phone call years later, along with a photograph that resembled one of the missing sons.
It's like every piece of information just creates more questions. The Sauter family spent decades searching for their children, following every lead and clinging to the hope that they were still alive.
Their dedication is remarkable, but sadly, the fate of the Sauter children remains a mystery to this day. It's a chilling reminder of how quickly life can change and how some questions may never be answered.
The Sauter case continues to fascinate and frustrate investigators and armchair detectives alike. Theories range from accidental deaths covered up to kidnapping by organized crime, and even the notion that the children were taken to South America. But without any concrete evidence, the mystery persists, serving as a testament to the power of unanswered questions and the unwavering hope of a family desperately seeking closure.
Now, from a mystery spanning decades, let's dive into a more recent disappearance that's gripped the attention of online sleuths. The disappearance of Lars Mittank in Bulgaria in 2014. This case feels particularly unnerving because it unfolds in the digital age, where we're so accustomed to leaving behind a trail of digital footprints.
Lars's disappearance is a reminder of the anxieties surrounding modern travel, the unsettling possibilities of sudden mental health breakdowns, and the enduring mysteries that can arise even in a world saturated with surveillance.
Lars was vacationing with friends, and everything seemed fine at first. However, things took a strange turn after he got into a minor bar fight and suffered a ruptured eardrum. He became increasingly paranoid and fearful, convinced that he was in danger.
His behavior grew erratic, suggesting a potential mental health crisis. He made a frantic phone call to his mother, expressing his fear and paranoia, talking about people following him and feeling unsafe. His desperation is palpable in the recording.
And then we have the chilling airport security footage capturing Lars's final moments. He's seen pacing anxiously before suddenly bolting from the airport, running into the surrounding fields and vanishing without a trace.
The footage is incredibly unsettling. You see a young man, clearly distressed and consumed by fear, running blindly towards an unknown fate. It's an image that has become synonymous with his disappearance, fueling endless speculation.
Despite extensive searches, no trace of Lars has ever been found. Did he suffer a complete mental breakdown and wander off into the wilderness? Was he the victim of foul play? Or did something else entirely happen that we haven't even considered? The possibilities are as intriguing as they are disturbing.
The case remains open, and the lack of definitive answers continues to fuel debate. Was his paranoia justified? Was he actually in danger? Or was his fear a manifestation of mental health crisis? These questions linger in the digital shadows, making Lars Mittank's disappearance a modern-day mystery that captivates and perplexes in equal measure.
Okay, let's turn our attention to a case that was ultimately solved after decades, but it's no less chilling. The murder of Arliss Perry in 1974 at Stanford University. This one takes place in an environment we often think of as safe and protected, a prestigious university campus. But as we'll see, darkness can lurk even in the most unexpected places.
This case really highlights the dedication and perseverance of cold case investigators, as well as the power of DNA technology to unlock the secrets of the past. And on a deeper level, it reminds us of the enduring pain of unresolved grief for families denied closure, sometimes for decades.
Arliss Perry, a newlywed, was found brutally murdered inside Stanford Memorial Church. The crime scene was disturbing, with some details suggesting a ritualistic element. But despite an extensive investigation, the case went cold for over 40 years.
Imagine the agony of not knowing, the unanswered questions that must have haunted her family and friends for all those years, and then, finally, in 2018, a breakthrough. DNA evidence from the original crime scene was re-examined and matched to a man named John Arthur Getro,
It turned out Getro had a history of violence against women.
which makes you wonder how many other cold cases he might be connected to.
It's a chilling thought.
But before he could be brought to justice for Arliss's murder, he tragically took his own life, robbing her loved ones of the chance to confront him in court.
It's a bittersweet resolution to the case. Finally, a name, an answer. But still so many unanswered questions. And for Arliss's family, the lack of a trial, the absence of any explanation from Getro leaves a void that can never truly be filled.
It's a harsh reminder that justice can sometimes be elusive, even with the advancements of forensic science. And the shadows of the past can linger, even after a mystery is seemingly solved.
Now, let's shift gears to a case that has captivated the online world, becoming a true obsession for many. The disappearance of Maura Murray in 2004. This one unfolds in New Hampshire, and it's packed with twists, turns, and dead ends that have left everyone scratching their heads.
It really demonstrates how a seemingly simple disappearance can spiral into a complex web of unanswered questions, fueling endless speculation and debate.
Maura Murray was a nursing student who crashed her car on a rural road in New Hampshire. When police arrived just minutes later, she was gone.
Wow.
There was no sign of serious injury. But she had vanished without a trace.
Here's where things get really interesting. There are indications that Maura might have been planning some kind of getaway. She had purchased alcohol, even though she wasn't of legal drinking age. She had sent a misleading email to her professors, suggesting a family emergency, and she had researched lodging options in the White Mountains.
But if she was planning to run away, why crash her car, and where did she go after disappearing from the scene? It doesn't quite add up.
Despite extensive searches and numerous leads, no trace of Maura has ever been found.
That lack of a clear motive, the contradictory clues, the complete absence of any solid evidence, it's a perfect storm for speculation.
The online world has exploded with theories. Did she run away to start a new life? Did she meet with foul play? Or did something tragic happen in the vast wilderness? And that's part of what makes this case so captivating. It's like a puzzle with missing pieces.
Okay.
And we're all trying to fill in the blanks to create a narrative that makes sense.
It's a case that's both fascinating and incredibly frustrating, a reminder that even in our modern digital age, where we leave behind a constant trail of data, people can simply vanish, leaving behind only silence and a mountain of unanswered questions.
Speaking of unsettling disappearances, our next case takes us back to 1969, to the seemingly quiet and safe world of academia, the unsolved murder of Betsy Ardsma, a case often referred to as the silence of the stacks.
This one hits close to home for many students and academics because it unfolds in a place we associate with knowledge and safety. A library. Betsy Ardsma, a graduate student at Penn State, was found stabbed to death in the stacks of Patty Library.
And get this, it happened in broad daylight,
Yeah.
surrounded by books and presumably other students.
Yeah.
No one saw or heard a thing. It's as if the very walls of the library absorbed the sounds of the struggle, concealing the identity of the killer.
It's baffling. You'd think someone would have seen or heard something. And to add to the mystery, the weapon was never found.
The lack of a clear motive, the absence of the murder weapon, the perplexing silence surrounding the attack, they've all contributed to making Betsy Ardsma's murder an enduring mystery that continues to haunt the halls of Penn State.
It's a sobering reminder that even in seemingly safe havens, darkness can lurk, and some secrets may never be fully revealed.
Okay, let's delve into a case that's become a true enigma in the annals of true crime. The disappearance of the Springfield Three. It happened in Missouri in 1992, and it's a case that embodies the unsettling nature of unsolved disappearances.
This one really makes you question everything, because it involves not one, but 3 women vanishing from a seemingly secure home, leaving behind only a handful of clues and a whole lot of unanswered questions.
We're talking about Cheryl Levitt,
Mm-hmm.
her daughter, Susie Streeter, and Susie's friend, Stacy McCall. They were last seen at Cheryl's house after a graduation celebration. And then they simply vanished. No signs of a struggle, no forced entry, no messages, no demands, just silence.
It's as if they stepped out of their lives and into thin air. Their purses, keys, and cars were all left at the house.
The complete lack of a crime scene, the absence of any indication of foul play, and the fact that they never made contact with anyone again, it's all incredibly perplexing. It defies easy explanation.
The theories have ranged from a planned getaway gone wrong, to a chance encounter with dangerous individuals, to a possible link to organized crime. But without any concrete evidence, the case remains shrouded in mystery.
The Springfield Three case is a haunting reminder that sometimes people simply disappear. They leave behind their belongings, their loved ones, their entire lives, and vanish into the unknown. It challenges our sense of safety and security and leaves us grappling with the unsettling reality that some mysteries may never be solved.
Now, let's travel across the globe to Australia, where we'll delve into a case that's as fascinating as it is puzzling, the Somerton Man. It dates back to 1948, and it centers on an unidentified man found dead on Somerton Beach.
The Somerton Man case highlights the enduring power of the unknown. Even in a world increasingly driven by technology and data, it's a case that blends classic detective work with elements of code-breaking and international intrigue, making it a truly captivating mystery.
This man, well-dressed and seemingly healthy, was found lying on the beach with no identification and only a few personal belongings, none of which provided any clues to his identity. It's like he emerged from nowhere.
And the mystery only deepened when the autopsy revealed no obvious cause of death. There were subtle signs that he might have been poisoned, but nothing definitive. It's almost like he was a ghost, leaving behind no trace of who he was or why he died.
And then there's the discovery of a tiny piece of paper hidden in his pocket, bearing the words, "Tamam Shud," which translates to, "It is finished" in Persian.
The phrase was traced to a rare edition of the Rubaiyat, a collection of Persian poetry, and within its pages, investigators found a coded message. It seemed like a major break in the case, but to this day, the code has never been deciphered.
So, who is the Somerton Man? Why did he die? And what secrets, if any, did the Tamam Shud message hold? These questions have haunted investigators and armchair detectives for over 7 decades.
The case has become a source of endless speculation, with theories ranging from espionage to unrequited love, even the possibility that he was part of a secret society. Recent DNA analysis has provided some hope of finally uncovering his identity. But the true story of the Somerton Man remains a tantalizing puzzle, waiting to be solved.
Okay, ready for a case that's as bizarre as it is unsettling? Let's talk about the lead masks case. In 1966, 2 men were found dead on Vintim Hill in Brazil, and the circumstances surrounding their deaths are truly strange.
This case blends mystery with elements that could be straight out of a science fiction novel. It raises questions about secret societies, scientific experimentation, and even the possibility of unexplained phenomena, making it a particularly intriguing case in the world of the unexplained.
Imagine this. 2 men, meticulously dressed, are found dead on a hillside. They have lead masks covering their faces, and there's no sign of a struggle, no indication of how they got there or why.
The scene was eerie, and the lack of any obvious explanation just added to the mystery.
And then there's the notebook found near their bodies. It's filled with cryptic symbols and what appear to be instructions or diary entries, but the writing remains undecipherable.
It's like a puzzle box, tempting us with the possibility of answers. But so far, no one has been able to crack the code. Theories about the case have ranged from UFO encounters to clandestine scientific experiments, even the involvement of secret societies. But the truth remains elusive.
The lead masks case has become a part of Brazilian folklore, a testament to our enduring fascination with the unexplained. It's a story that captures the imagination and leaves us wondering what really happened on that remote hillside.
Okay, let's move on to a case that takes us back to the heart of family drama, but with a truly macabre twist. The mummified husband case from Wales. This one is both bizarre and heartbreaking, and it highlights the lengths some people will go to conceal their secrets.
This case is truly stranger than fiction. It involves a woman named Lisa Bean, who is discovered to have concealed her husband's body mummified, no less, in a spare bedroom for decades.
It's a level of deception that's almost unimaginable. It speaks to the complexities of human relationships, the secrets we keep, and the lengths we'll go to protect them.
But here's where it gets even more intriguing. The police later determined that Lee's husband, John, had actually died from blunt force trauma to the head. So now we have a potential murder wrapped in layers of deceit and topped off with the mummified body hidden in plain sight.
And sadly, we may never know the full story, because Lee died before she could be questioned about the circumstances of her husband's death and her elaborate efforts to conceal it.
It's a case that leaves us with more questions than answers. What was Lee's motive? Was she trying to protect a terrible secret? Or was there something more sinister at play? We're left to ponder the possibilities, knowing that some secrets may go to the grave.
Speaking of secrets and deception, our next case takes us back to the era of the Cold War, a time of espionage, intrigue, and hidden agendas. The Isdal woman, found in Norway in 1970. This one is shrouded in mystery and has fueled speculation about spies, secret identities, and Cold War conspiracies.
The Isdal woman's true identity remains a mystery to this day. But the evidence suggests she was living a life shrouded in secrecy, a life potentially entangled in the world of international espionage.
Imagine this. A burned body is discovered in a remote valley in Norway, and it quickly becomes clear that someone has gone to great lengths to conceal her identity. Labels have been removed from her belongings, and she has multiple aliases, wigs, and foreign currency.
It's like something straight out of a spy novel. And then there are the coded messages found in her notebook, revealing her travels across Europe. It's a trail of clues that suggests a life lived on the edge. Perhaps a life caught in a dangerous game of secrets and betrayal.
The Isdal woman case is a reminder of the chilling realities of the Cold War, a conflict fought not just on battlefields, but in the shadows, where identities were fluid, loyalties were tested, and the truth was often a casualty.
Was she a spy? An informant? A double agent caught in a web of deceit? We may never know for sure. But the circumstantial evidence paints a compelling picture of a life entangled in danger and intrigue, a life that ended tragically in a remote Norwegian valley.
Okay, now let's travel to Australia once again, to a case that's both tragic and utterly baffling. The Beaumont children disappearance. It was Australia Day, 1966, when 3 young siblings vanished from Adelaide Beach, leaving behind a mystery that continues to haunt the nation.
Imagine this. It's a beautiful summer day, and the Beaumont children are enjoying a carefree day at the beach. Then, in a matter of hours, they simply vanish, leaving their parents and the entire community in a state of shock and disbelief.
The disappearance of the Beaumont children gripped the nation's attention. It was a story that played on every parent's worst fears, the sudden, unexplained disappearance of their children.
There were early, but ultimately misleading, sightings of the children with a blonde man, adding another layer of mystery to the case.
Those unverified leads fueled hope, then dashed it, leaving behind more questions than answers. What happened to the Beaumont children? Were they abducted? Did they wander off and meet with some terrible fate?
Decades have passed, and still, their disappearance remains a chilling reminder of the enduring power of the unknown.
The case continues to fascinate and frustrate investigators and the public alike. It's a story that has become ingrained in Australian culture, a symbol of lost innocence and the enduring search for answers.
Okay, now let's step back in time to 1922, to the isolated farm of Hinterkaifeck in Bavaria, Germany. This one is a true nightmare. An entire family brutally murdered in their home, and the killer was never caught. It's a story that chills to the bone.
The Hinterkaifeck murders are a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected places, and of the enduring mysteries that can haunt a community for generations.
Imagine this, an isolated farmstead, the silence broken only by the sounds of nature, and then, one by one, the members of the Gruber family are brutally murdered. Their bodies are discovered days later, a scene of unimaginable horror.
The details are truly gruesome. The family members were found in various locations throughout the property, in the barn, in their beds, a chilling tableau of violence.
The Hinterkaifeck murders sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. Who would commit such a horrific act, and why?
There were rumors of family feuds, a possible connection to the former husband who had died years earlier, and even whispers of a haunting presence on the farm. But none of these theories led to a definitive answer.
The farm was eventually razed to the ground, but the memory of the Hinterkaifeck murders lingers, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can sometimes consume seemingly peaceful places.
It's a case that continues to captivate and terrify. A story that reminds us that some secrets may never be revealed, some wounds may never fully heal, and some places may forever bear the stain of tragedy.
All right, let's move on to a case that's a bit lighter, but no less intriguing. The Man in the Attic. This one takes place in Los Angeles in the 1920s, and it involves a hidden lover, a murder, and a whole lot of deception. It's a story that could have been ripped from the pages of a Hollywood screenplay.
The Man in the Attic case provides a fascinating glimpse into societal expectations of women in the early 20th century. Dolly Oesterreich's ability to manipulate her husband and conceal a lover for a decade speaks to the limited options available to women in unhappy marriages and the lengths they would go to achieve autonomy.
Okay, so picture this. Dolly Oesterreich is married to a wealthy businessman, but their relationship is strained, unbeknownst to her husband. Dolly has a secret lover, Otto Sandhuber, who she hides, wait for it, in her attic.
And not just for a night or two, he lived up there for 10 years.
Can you imagine? It's a level of audacity and deception that's hard to fathom.
And then, the story takes a dark turn. Dolly's husband is found shot to death, and Otto confesses to the murder, claiming it was a crime of passion, a jealous rage.
But here's the thing. The case remains officially unsolved. We have Otto's confession, But the full extent of Dolly's involvement, her motivations, the psychological dynamics of their twisted relationship, those details remain shrouded in ambiguity.
It's a story that leaves us with more questions than answers. Was Otto truly acting alone? Or was Dolly the mastermind behind the whole scheme? It's a classic example of a true crime story that captures the imagination and continues to intrigue even after all these years.
Okay, from a secret attic lover. Let's turn our attention to a case that highlights the very real dangers of online profiling and how easily someone's public persona can be manipulated to fit a narrative, even if it's completely false. It's the story of the Elvis impersonator ricin plot.
This case,
Yeah.
which unfolded in 2013, really highlights the perils of jumping to conclusions in the digital age. We often form opinions based on snippets of information, online profiles, and social media posts, without considering the possibility of a deeper, more complex story.
We have Paul Karras, an Elvis impersonator who is accused of sending ricin-laced letters to President Obama,
Yeah.
a senator, and a judge. The letters were rambling, threatening, and seemed to echo some of the anti-government sentiments Curtis had expressed online. He quickly became the prime suspect.
The initial evidence against him seemed damning. His name was on the letters. His online rants were a matter of public record, and castor beans, the source of ricin, were found in his apartment. It seemed like an open and shut case.
But as the investigation progressed, cracks began to appear in the seemingly airtight case against Curtis. The handwriting on the letters didn't match perfectly. The ricin was of a different strain than what was found in his apartment. And the castor beans turned out to be part of a harmless home decor item.
Talk about a red herring. The investigation eventually uncovered that Curtis had been framed by a man named James Everett Dutschke, who held a personal grudge against him. Dutschke even used Curtis's own hairdryer to process the ricin, ensuring that Curtis's DNA would be found at the scene. It was a carefully calculated act of revenge that could have had deadly consequences.
Thankfully, the truth came to light, and Curtis was exonerated. But the case serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of online profiling and the importance of critical thinking in the face of a seemingly compelling narrative.
It's a story that makes us question how much we truly know about the people we encounter online, and reminds us that the digital world is often a stage where appearances can be carefully curated and manipulated to deceive.
Okay, for our final case, let's take a look at a story that highlights the strange and unsettling things that can happen in the most unexpected places. It's the case of Jeanette De Palma, who was found dead on a cliff known as Devil's Teeth in New Jersey back in 1972.
Jeanette's case is a reminder of the enduring power of the unexplained, and how our imaginations can run wild when confronted with the unknown. We crave explanations, even if they lead us down a rabbit hole of speculation and conjecture.
Jeanette was a teenager who disappeared one day and was later found dead on this creepy cliff called Devil's Teeth. I mean,
Yeah.
the name alone is enough to send chills down your spine.
Right, and the crime scene was littered with these bizarre objects. A makeshift altar, a so-called witch's broom. It fueled all sorts of rumors about occult activity and satanic rituals.
It definitely adds a layer of mystery that's hard to shake off.
Absolutely, and to this day, the cause of death was never definitively determined, which just adds fuel to the speculative fire. Was it a random crime disguised by those strange items, or was something more sinister at play?
It's a case that's been debated and dissected for decades, and it continues to captivate those who are drawn to the unexplained.
And I think that's what makes true crime so fascinating. It's not just about the crimes themselves, but about the human response to those crimes. The way we try to make sense of the senseless, the way we grapple with the unknown.
Wow, what a journey through the world of true crime. We've explored some truly fascinating and disturbing cases, from unsolved murders to mysterious disappearances, from hidden lovers to phantom letter writers. It's safe to say that the world of true crime is full of twists, turns, and mysteries that continue to capture our attention.
What I find most compelling about these cases is that, while each is unique in its circumstances, they often share common threads: the enduring power of the unknown, the human need to make sense of tragedy, and the chilling reminder that even in our modern world, some mysteries may never be fully solved.
And that, my friends, is perhaps the most intriguing aspect of true crime, the possibility that some answers may forever remain elusive, leaving us to grapple with the enduring mystery and the haunting questions that linger in the shadows. Keep those detective hats on, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.